No stories, no updates, nothing new. You scroll down and the last post is from years ago, like their account's been frozen since 2019. Meanwhile, everyone else is posting their morning coffee, their workouts, their moods, their entire lives. But this person doesn't. And the funny part is, every time you see them in real life, they actually seem fine, calm, grounded, not lost, not behind, not struggling to keep up. That kind of person feels very familiar. It might be someone you know, or honestly, it might be you. Most people immediately assume something about them. They must be shy, introverted, antisocial. Maybe they don't like people, but most of the time, that's not it at all. A lot of people who don't post aren't afraid of connection, and they're not hiding from the world. They just don't feel the need to show up there. And that's where it gets interesting. Because behind that silence, there's usually not a lack of something, but a very different way of thinking. There's actually a psychology behind choosing not to post. When you look closer, the difference isn't really about how much someone uses social media. It's about where they're living inside their own head. For people who post a lot, moments often come with a familiar set of thoughts. What's the best angle? How's the lighting? What should the caption say? Is this a good time to post? Even while they're enjoying something, part of their mind has already stepped outside the moment and turned it into content. People who don't post tend to ask different questions. They're less focused on how it looks to others and more on how it actually feels to them. They're inside the moment instead of watching it from the outside. And that difference matters. Some people live the moment. Others live the performance of the moment. To be clear, there's nothing wrong with enjoying likes. Everyone feels a little rush when they post something and people respond. Your brain gets rewarded. Dopamine kicks in. It feels good. The problem is that the feeling fades quickly, but the pressure stays much longer. You start wondering what you should post next, how to keep up the image, how to look just as happy or successful as before. Slowly, sharing stops being something natural and starts feeling like an obligation. And you've probably felt this at some point. A moment starts out joyful and complete, but the second you think about posting it, something shifts. The moment feels a little less real, not because it changed, but because your attention left it. Most people who are quiet online weren't always that way. Many of them used to post regularly, just like everyone else. But over time, something wears them down. They get tired of comparing their life to everyone else's highlight reel, tired of being misunderstood or having their words twisted, tired of feeling like they have to explain their life to people who aren't actually living it with them. So they step back. Quietly, no announcement, no dramatic exit. They don't disappear because they stopped caring. They disappear because they cared too much. At this point, a common fear shows up. If someone doesn't post, does that mean they're lonely, invisible, forgotten? But not all silence comes from emptiness. Some people simply choose to keep more of their life to themselves. They still do meaningful things. They still feel deeply. They just don't feel the need to broadcast it. They can be sad without posting a story. They can be happy without proving it. In that sense, privacy isn't isolation. It's a different kind of closeness. Privacy isn't loneliness. It's intimacy with yourself. When you stop relying on posting to feel seen, something subtle but important happens inside you. People who don't post often don't need the world constantly telling them, "You're enough." Not because they think they're better than anyone else, but because that sense of worth comes more from within. They know what their life looks like. They know what they're working through. And that doesn't need to be validated by likes or comments. This kind of silence isn't arrogance, and it isn't avoidance. It's closer to peace. It's what happens when you stop putting your life up for approval. When you stop updating your life online, something interesting becomes clearer. You start noticing who remembers you without reminders, who reaches out without needing a post as a prompt. These connections are usually fewer, but they're heavier. They don't need proof to exist. No photos, no captions, no updates. Just a message, a call, or a real conversation. And in that quiet space, real connection tends to show itself more honestly than ever. Maybe the most confident people aren't the loudest ones online. Maybe they're the ones who don't need proof that their life is happening. They still grow, still struggle, still experience meaningful things, even when no one is watching. And maybe that's enough. A lot of the moments that shape who you are will never make it to a feed. They live in memory, not media. So before we end, here's a question I want to leave you with. Not to answer out loud, just to sit with for a moment. When was the last time you did something truly meaningful and didn't feel the need to post it?